Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I am Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
I'm great. We put our headphones on almost at exactly the same time.
I like that. Yeah. So if you're on YouTube, you can see the amazing synchronization.
I like the word.
Of the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. Don't worry about the craft stuff falling over in the corner. We're going to be okay. I do apologize. If you are on YouTube, the lack of decorations, we used to have a ton of sports stuff hanging everywhere ever since the Rona, and redid the basement. I haven't got to hang anything back up.
Now we got the blue screen behind us that we're going to eventually
I would love to be able to use that.
Put pictures and videos up there as we're talking. So
if we could figure something, I feel like we've been doing this for a couple of years. We're coming up on episode like number 200 almost. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's about time to get like a creative director.
We need a production
guy, creative direction of production of something or that or other.
Yeah. Senior vice president.
That's getting a little out there, man. Let's hold off a second. We don't even have our
vice president of graphics or something like
that. But there is one thing that I want to start doing. We want to get back to, because there's a lot of people that help us out with the podcast and they support us. So we want to make sure that we support them. And one of those people is, we got summer coming up, Adam. It's creeping. It's May, and this is the time to get your first of many sprays for the old mosquitoes, because the mosquitoes in the summer are terrible. They're just terrible. So Ohio Mosquito Control, they're the pest of the pest. They're the pest of the pest. I like that. That's what they are. They are the pest to the pest.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they are.
Indeed.
So at Ohio Mosquito Control, we offer quality services to the Cincinnati area at reasonable prices, family owned and operated. Professional mosquito control service, just a phone call away. They offer residential and commercial application. They're fully licensed and insured pest control company specializing in mosquito control. It's time to enjoy the outdoors again. Their barrier spray applications include a broad spectrum insecticide that offers relief from mosquitoes around your home, including backyard, pool areas, patios, and porches. With repeated applications every 3 to 4 weeks, all outdoor areas will become enjoyable for the whole summer. They offer single applications as well for outdoor events such as weddings and parties. You can find everything you need to know about these guys at ohio-mc.com. ohio-mc.com. You can book your application right there online. You don't have to call anybody if you don't want to. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jason Schmieg and his family will make sure that you are taken care of. I've even had an issue before. I'm going to say this and I'll tell you. He came out and sprayed, and like a week later, I noticed a bunch of mosquitoes out there. I'm like, what's going on? He came out and he's like, dude, I'll hook you up. And he came back out, took care of it, and we didn't have any problems after that. That's only happened one time in like 4 years. So it's not something that happens all the time. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you right now, these guys they're amazing. So once again, ohio-mc.com. You can book online there, or you can get a hold of them at 513-347-3594.
Really hit that 9-4 at the end.
You got to get that 9-4. So on that note, today on the sports podcast of the Nosebleeds variety, we've got a very little bit of sports and a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
We've got some fun stuff that's going on with, I believe it was the Netflix. What was it? The
Netflix is a joke.
Netflix is a joke comedy tour or something like that. It's a big thing that they had with a ton of different comedians, which would have been super awesome to go to after I heard the whole lineup of everybody that was out there. But Dave Chappelle had some stuff going on. We'll talk about that. We've got the NBA basketball playoffs. We might talk Major League Baseball. I don't know. Depends on how much time we got, because the Reds are currently losing. They're 3-20 at this moment in time before this game's over. I don't know how much I want to talk about the Reds. Yeah, there is some things that I'd like to go over, though. There are some things that I'd like to talk about, not just about this team, but about we've kind of brought stuff like this up before, but just the Reds in general.
Okay.
We may talk about it. But first thing we got to do, we're tasting different Reese's. So Reese's has got, if you've noticed in the candy section, Reese's has got things they've got all kinds of new candies, candy bars, candy cups, all kinds of different stuff coming out these days.
The food groups from Elf, right?
Last week,
candy corns, candy
corns. Oh, that's going to be one. Eventually, there's going to be a Reese's with candy corn in it.
Yeah.
But last week we tried out the the Reese's Outrageous candy bar, which I gave a 10. It's my all-time favorite. The week before that was the brownie peanut butter brownie cup thingy. I wasn't the biggest fan. The snack cake is what they called it.
Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but this week, Adam, what do you got for us, bub?
We've got the Reese's Sticks. Now, these are, to me, sort of the answer to the Kit Kat, maybe sort of the Reese's version of the Kit Kat.
Have you had this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I stopped at the store on the way over here, and the amount of Reese's products there is unbelievable, and a lot of them I have not tried yet.
There's
so I'm
a lot.
excited about
Yes, there's a lot that we haven't tried. There's at least 10 or more different things out there right now.
For sure.
So this is milk chocolate. This is the Reese's Sticks. There's 4 sticks in this king size bar. Milk chocolate, peanut butter, and crispy wafer. So I'm glad that you said it's like the Kit Kat. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I love Kit Kats.
Me too.
But one thing I don't like are those wafer things.
You don't like them?
What are those called?
Yeah, just wafer. Just I don't know.
You know, the like generic wafer thingy. I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of, and I it's just because it's kind of bland for me.
Yeah, it is. It's very dry. I like them, but it is very dry. When my brother and I flew out to New York in 2005, I think it was, to go out and see Conan, we had hardly any money. So we stayed at a really bad hotel in a bad part of town, and we didn't have a car or anything. We flew out. And so we walked down the street to a really bad
little
gas station.
Little bodega.
It wasn't even that. It was it was a gas station. It was a little, and we bought those. That we bought just some candy because that was our dinner. That's what we ate for dinner.
I love it.
So anyway, we bought those wafers, and they were, I remember, Joden's brand, like Jordan without the R. I don't know why I remember that.
Because I know why you remembered it, because you're thinking it was Jordan. Exactly.
Anyway, these are covered in chocolate with peanut butter in them,
so they gotta be better.
They're way better.
Cheers. All right, first reaction. On your mark, get set, go.
I had to tilt my head back in ecstasy for a second, because this is way up there at the top of the list for me as far as Reese's candy goes. I love these so much. I haven't had them in a long time too, which is even better now. But yeah, it is like a Kit Kat, but with added peanut butter. That puts it way over the top. Puts it over the top. To me, it doesn't get much better than this. I almost would prefer this. I think I would prefer this over the classic cup.
Whoa.
I don't know if I prefer it over the big cup, but the classic cup, I think I take these over that. What do you think?
So definitely kind of like the Kit Kat. It's more, the wafer is more like that wafer we were talking about than it is like the Kit Kat wafer, which I like a lot. However, with the peanut butter and chocolate around it, makes it amazing. So I gave the Outrageous bar a 10. I believe that's the Reese's caramel chocolate peanut butter. I think there's nothing better than that. However, having to rate, I believe I rated the what was it called? The snack pack or the
snack cake.
Snack cake. I think I gave that a 6.
Okay. Sounds right.
I'm gonna give this a 7. Slightly above the snack cake. I need to make room for a lot of things. So I don't know exactly where things are gonna fall, but I know this is better than the snack cake.
But it's 3 notches down from.
I'll maybe give it an 8. You know what? I'm gonna split the difference. This is going on an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
8. My rating,
Really good. This is delicious.
and for that reason, 9.5.
I like. Oh, all right. And so it begins. And so the decimals begin. I'm so excited for those.
9.49999999.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, I just want to keep shoving these in my face. I won't do that.
I'm going to throughout the entire show. I don't really
Keep
care.
doing it. Keep doing it.
All right. So, man, these are really good. These are good. I'm sticking with the 8. I'm sticking with an 8. 8's a good score.
Hey, you know what? You are welcome to change it at any time during this podcast. If you wait a little bit and you get some energy out of your system about, Dave Chappelle or about the NBA playoffs or something like that, and you go back and you have another one, you're like, whoa, in that 10 minutes, I forgot how good these were. I'm going to bump it up to an 8.2,
Okay.
up to an 8.4, up to an 8.9.
I think now that I know we're doing decimals, I am going to move it.
Get creative.
Because I want it to be an 8.3. I want an 8.3 out of this.
Okay. Nice.
I feel good about an 8.3.
I like the arrows moving up. It's 8.3 with a little green arrow pointed up.
100%.
So, all right. That was, I mean, really nice and quick, pretty much. But I love this part of our podcast. We're doing this until we get through most of the Reese's products.
Not most, until all of the Reese's products have been taken care of.
So,
sorry, it's just all. And if a new one comes out,
we have to do it.
It's coming back.
Totally agree. So Barry Reese, if you, first of all, thank you for watching. Thank you for the texts and the calls and stuff. And if you want to just go ahead and send us product, we are totally open to that. Otherwise, we'll just stop in somewhere and grab whatever.
And pay the $6.37 to get. Yeah, because you got to buy 3 of everything now. Was that a 3? Was that a 3 for deal?
No. But they had something there on sale, a little similar to that. But I didn't go to Kroger. I went to UDF, which is always more expensive anyway. So anyway, but as we've said before, so worth it.
This is so good.
So worth it.
So good. I definitely recommend the Reese's sticks. All right. On that note, Adam, we do a little comedy. Man, we do a little comedy every week. We watch a comedy segment. Let's talk about Dave Chappelle before we get into basketball, because I've never seen anything like this happen before in my entire life.
Yeah, it's happened. Comedians have been attacked on stage, but you don't hear about it a ton, and it's almost never somebody as big as Dave Chappelle
at a place as big as where he was at. That's the thing to me too. Like at the Comedy Cellar or something where you're like 3 feet away. Sure, that I could see something happening.
This is a stage though that you have to climb up on, and at the Netflix's Joke Festival, and yeah, it's unbelievable. So, did you see the video? Video's hard to see.
There's a couple different angles, but it's not very good.
Yeah. But from what you can tell and from the story, and by the way, I was telling you this before, I read probably 6 different publication stories on this thing. Everybody's got a little bit different. So we don't really know exactly what happened. All we can do is gather all the information we've gotten and just tell you what we've heard.
Until we get an interview with Dave Chappelle about the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So guy comes up on stage and tackles him, right? Or tries to, or something like that.
Oh, he tackled him. He tackled Dave. So here's my question for you. Right, like Will Smith walked up on stage, stared Chris Rock right in the eye, and smacked old boy. Right? Chris Rock's not the biggest guy in the world. Right. Dave Chappelle, since he came back, is known for being a beast. Oh, boys. Of every comedian that you could pick from, Dave Chappelle is one of the top probably 3 or 4 that I would not want to go up on stage and try to hit.
Yeah. He bulked up massively like 5 years ago or whatever it was. Here's the thing. The steroids, the steroid anger, took steroids, probably got angrier, smoked so much weed, came right back down, buddy. He's just calm,
Calm.
He's calm,
but
cool,
he
and collected.
stomped him, Busta Rhymes, and Jamie Foxx. After he comes back out, him, Busta Rhymes, and Jamie Foxx come out, and him and Jamie Foxx are talking how they just stomped the guy. He said, I never thought I'd get the opportunity to stomp somebody on stage. And he finally got to do it. Oh my God, it's so funny. Chris Rock coming out, immediately grabbing the microphone and saying, "Was that Will Smith?" Absolutely hilarious. Well timed, perfect. Couldn't be any better. Well done by Chris Rock, because Chris Rock needed to get something out. He played that Will Smith thing very, very, very cool. That was the perfect opportunity to get a little crack on Will, because Will deserved it.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty low hanging fruit. I was like, okay, whatever.
What? No,
Yeah.
he deserved that, man. Hey, I hope Will Smith was laughing his ass off at it too. You know, Will was laughing at it.
Maybe I just didn't think it was that funny. But anyway,
I love it.
what I thought was funnier was Dave coming out and talking after that. Said it was a trans man.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah. He told everybody it was a trans man. He
They like broke his arm. The dude had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
They beat the piss out of this guy.
Good.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
If you go and try to tackle somebody on stage and you get out of there without any injuries, you should count your blessings, because I'm gonna tell you right now, like these guys that are starting to run out on football fields, and Stephon Diggs last year in the playoffs laid old boy out that came running out on the field.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I love it. You're a grown man that's got naked or whatever. I hope you do get tackled by a man in pads and it hurts like hell.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what city this was in. It shouldn't be that hard to find, but apparently it is. But it runs for almost 2 weeks. So it's running through the next few days, and it started at the end of April, last couple of days in April. But anyway, just massive. Everybody's been at this festival,
right?
Or most huge people. Obviously, Chappelle and Rock are there. Jamie Foxx, Busta Rhymes, apparently not even only comedians.
Yeah, I'm sure it's got a lot of different stuff in it. Yeah.
So anyway,
and Busta Rhymes bulked up lately too. That's one thing. He had a whole body transformation. Oh boy, got stumped. They had to take him to the hospital. I've heard at least a broken arm. Mm-hmm. I think somebody said dude's arm looks like Tom Segura trying to dunk on when he tried to dunk on a 9-foot hoop.
That's gross.
Oh my God, I'd heard. Oh, if you've never seen that video of Tom Segura trying to dunk, oh my God,
he tore his whole body off.
His arm, I don't know how his arm was still attached afterwards.
Yeah. That was really gross. But this was really interesting. And after speaking of the Chris Rock thing, the Will Smith thing, I think we both totally disagreed with the whole people talking about, well, this is going to give people ideas about going up on stage and going after comedians and stuff. Now, I don't think that had anything to do with what this guy's talking about. And Dave Chappelle talked about, before that happened, how he's had to beef up his security lately because of his last special, talking about all the trans stuff.
Yep.
And apparently, he was joking about the guy being a trans woman or a trans man or whatever, but we don't know what the motive was. We don't know why the guy went after him.
We've not heard anything about it.
I guess if you're going after somebody, it's because of something they said, or if you're just, I don't know, if you're just a maniac, maybe that's it too.
Who knows? But apparently the guy had a gun. The report I saw, the gun was fake, but it had a knife taped to it. Maybe
there was either a knife and a gun, or a knife attached to a gun, or a gun that was also a knife somehow. I don't know. The guy had a bayonet or something.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So anyway, so this guy came.
But everything I've read said the gun was fake.
I read a few things like that, and a few things that just flat out said the guy had a gun and a knife. And it sounds like if there's information that there is a gun knife that's not a real gun, then that's probably the case.
Yeah.
Either way, that's the worst. That's by far the scariest part of this. The guy had it doesn't sound like he used it, but the guy had a weapon on him and he got up on stage. That's the worst part.
Yep.
That's how.
So Dave Chappelle beefed up his security and somebody still got up on that stage? Oh, Chappelle need to be having a conversation. Them boys need to put the reefer down and start paying attention.
They're gonna have to have people in like along the front of the stage. I mean, maybe not on the stage, but like right in front of the front row. Somehow they're gonna have to seat people facing. Yeah, like I'm gonna be sitting right here. The stage is right there, and you're Dave Chappelle security. I'm gonna have to look at you the whole night,
and I'll be looking at you the whole night.
Speaking of that, the girl that tried to run on the court in at the Raptors game last series.
Okay,
did you see that?
No.
There's apparently some girl as a protest was planning to run onto the court during a game, during one of the playoff games, and did. And the video you can see, they knew this was going to happen. They scoped her out and had a security person planted 2 seats away from her, watching her the whole. They almost this close, and the security guard you can see on the videos just staring right at her. And I don't know if she knew that and didn't care, was going to go for it anyway, or didn't realize it. But the girl moves like this to get up, hops, and as soon as she stands up, the security guard jumps up too. This girl actually hops between the 2 seats in front of her. She was in the second row, and like takes 2 steps onto the court, and the security guard just dives right on top of her and tackles her down.
So awesome.
It was crazy, but they knew that was happening somehow. And that reminded me of, there are working at the ballpark for the Reds. There were security people. They had a huge security staff, and they had people, number one, in plain clothes.
Yeah, the yellow jackets.
Well, they had the yellow. Yeah, they had the yellow, but they would have.
Oh, you said plain clothes. Yeah.
They would have like 4 people or something like that, designate people, different people all the time. And they would just plant them in like usually like the bleachers or somewhere like that. But they would travel, they would sit there for a couple innings
wherever they needed, wherever they were needed.
Yeah.
Hey, there's popcorn being dropped down here, or there's beer spilling over the edge.
And then the year my last year there, which was 2015, a girl that I had worked with moved into like a different role, one of her jobs was to like be an additional person to watch cameras and communicate with the security team, and just talk about, hey, this person looks a little funny, this person, is
these people are getting a little too rowdy, this.
So anyway, I mean, they have intel for some of that stuff too, but we've seen plenty of times that people run all the way onto a field, and I mean, they're kind of funny videos to watch when it gets past and they get caught.
I mean, watching the security trying to tackle them is always funny, because it's always some young guy in shape. Well, not always, but sometimes it's some young guy in shape that's juking fat security guys around. That is a little bit funny, but my all-time favorite ones are when the players themselves take it upon themselves to end it. Like they're just like, all right, nope, this ain't happening, and either clothesline them or tackle them or help with. I love that.
Yeah,
that's what I would do if I'm down there and there's some naked dude running out on the court, running out on the field. I'm walking right over there and knocking that dude out. Get out of here! I might even tackle him. Give him a little knee to the.
Might graze something.
Hey, but you know what? It is what it is. You got to take one for the team sometimes, man. Got to take one for the team. I would always I've always wanted to see when one of these naked dudes run out for a security guard to just, instead of trying to like grab them and tackle them, just reach out and just get a handful of everything, twig and berries and all, man, and just squeeze. You want to stop a boy straight in his tracks?
Paralysis.
Yes, you just freeze. That dude can be Mid-Griddy, and you grab that bad boy and he is done. Locked up. Locked up.
Mid-Griddy. That we might have our title of this episode. Mid-Griddy. All right. Yeah, those are funny. They're always a little bit, they're concerning until the guy gets caught, though. To me, like I still worry
that something's gonna happen. Like when the guy tried to stab the first base umpire in that White Sox game. That's 20 years ago now, it feels like.
Yep.
But that was really scary. I mean, that dude came out with a knife in Chicago and was gonna stab the first base umpire.
Yeah.
I think he did. Didn't he? Did he?
Was it the umpire? Oh, and then
the umpire at first.
And there was also a father and son that beat the crap out of the Royals first base coach too.
Yep. I remember that one. Yeah, that was the father son deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like right around the same time both of those things happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then, I mean, Chappelle is fine, it seems like, but the guy had a weapon on him. I mean, you just never know.
Fake or not fake, it doesn't matter. If it's fake, the guy's obviously out there for trying to, be whatever he is, and good for him for getting his butt kicked. But that's scary, dude.
We both are big fans of the band Pantera. After Pantera was over, Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul brothers went on to have this other band, and they were playing in Columbus, right up the road, and that's how Daryl Abbott got killed, was at a show. Guy just walked right on stage and shot him right in the chest or whatever.
How crazy is that? Like, what? So crazy.
It's you're so vulnerable. I mean, you're vulnerable.
I want to say that was like 02 or something.
Field.
I was like I feel like that's been a long time ago too, because I feel like it was when I was in high school.
Was it?
Yeah. Because I got a Pantera sweatshirt from our cousin for Christmas when I was, dude, this was probably 30 years ago. Maybe not 30. Hell, I would have been 8 years old. No, I was probably like 13 or 14. I wasn't that old. I still have that sweatshirt to this day. Love that sweatshirt.
I need to get a Pantera shirt.
We were on our way. So we're on our way to a baseball game, and the wife was with the girls for their softball game. So it was just me and the boy in the truck. And Parker got this very first experience of what it's like to roll into a game with me when I'm getting ready. The whole way there, I've got Fuel by Metallica going. I've got I did Enter Sandman. I turned it off. I was like, this isn't doing it for me right now. So then I go and I think I played Archie. We Ready? That's one of my favorite ones. We ready. I love that. I love that so much. But then as we pulled in, I turned on Walk by Pantera.
Yeah.
That I'm ready to like run through a wall right now. Right now, I could just run through a wall.
I feel like we played that song on repeat when we were lifting for
working out. That's what we did. It was that, and you know what else we had on that CD? We had a workout CD. It was we had like 2 or 3 Pantera songs. We had 2 or 3 Rob Zombie songs.
Okay. Yeah.
And White Zombie, Rob Zombie songs, and then we had some DMX on there too. I remember that burn CD I made.
That was
one of my all-time favorites. It would go from like Damien, one of the 3 Damiens from DMX, into Walk by Pantera. Respect. Oh man, I'm jammed. We got to the game and there was like 2 kids there, and we were the first game, so no one else is in the parking lot. And I got that thing blaring, and I saw them there, and I had all the equipment in the back of the truck, and I left the truck on and threw it on all the way on high. And Parker gets out, Dad, stop. And I'm like, no. And I'm playing the air guitar out there, and the kids are cracking up. Oh, dude, so good.
By the way, last weekend, I got to see your team play, one of your teams play, and you coach, and you guys got a run rule win, and you're coaching your brains out, and it was awesome.
Yeah, little man threw a couple innings, one hit.
Your son threw
no
the ball
runs,
very well.
Yeah, he did really well.
Hit well too.
Yeah. Oh, he's 1 for 1 with a couple walks. So
yeah,
did pretty good. It was a good day for the old elite baseball team.
Yes, sir. So anyway, that was fun. Look, thank God Dave Chappelle's okay. Thank God Chris Rock's okay. Thank God everybody's okay. And I don't know.
Let's talk about you know what? It's time. We got to get some kind of sports involved into this thing at some point, right? I mean, we do call this the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, which maybe at episode 200, we flipped the script on everybody and changed the name of the podcast to the Nosebleeds Podcast.
Sure.
And just lose the sports in general, because there's going to be some days where I don't even want to talk about sports.
I'm with you. This can be some of our best episodes, or when we talk a little bit of sports and a lot of something else.
Yes. I mean, I couldn't agree more with that.
Yep.
You know, my favorite part about this podcast today is we had Reese's in the beginning, and we will be coming back to Reese's for the Mount Rushmore segment.
Nice.
I'm
foreshadowing. Nice.
Pretty excited about that. Also, we got a great comedy segment in David Spade. You know, these old guys come back, and we never know what we're going to get with them.
Yep.
And I'm going
Can't wait to talk about that.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yep.
All right. So NBA playoffs. So the first round is officially over. We kind of knew what it was going to look like, although I did say that I thought the Timberwolves would come out and pull that off against the Grizzlies. They did not. The Grizz came out and did what they needed to do. I was a little bummed out with that.
Timberwolves made it a good series, though.
They did, and they are actually so. So they played last night. That game went down last night, and the Grizzly at home, the Grizzlies
Grizzly Adams
at home tied 1-1, and the Celtics absolutely destroyed. The Celtics put on another defensive clinic against the Milwaukee Bucks, 109-86. But the 106-101 game against the Warriors was fun. I watched a lot of that game. In the very beginning, what's his name for the Grizzlies is taken out for a foul on Poole, who never came back into the game. Who Poole was huge in that first series for Golden State. Took him out as looked like he dislocated his elbow, and I don't know what the actual thing came out as, but
was it Desmond Bain?
Bain was the one who got kicked out. Yeah, for the swipe to the head, same thing that Draymond Green got called for earlier. And then there was an elbow directly to Draymond Green's face, and he had to get stitches. And Steve Kerr was not happy. He said it was just he said something to the effect of, they asked him in between the first and second quarter, you knew this was going to be one of the more, you said this was going to be one of the more physical games you guys have had to play all year. It seems like it's that way so far. And he goes, no, this isn't physical. This is downright dirty. And I was like, well, the swiping one, I mean, it was kind of bad luck that the guy, I mean, I see that play happen a ton. The swipe, it just hit him in the head. So the guy got ejected. But the elbow was totally not on purpose. Nothing about that elbow to Draymond's face, I don't think, was on purpose. To you?
Okay. I still have not seen the video, actually.
Oh, I don't think it was on purpose at all. The guy was going for a ball, and Draymond's diving in with his head. Draymond almost hit the dude's elbow as much as the dude's elbow came around and hit Draymond. It was just bad spot, wrong time, wrong place kind of thing.
Well, speaking of Draymond, he got ejected out of the first game.
Yep. For the same thing that Desmond Bain got ejected for in this game.
And then the second game is flipping fans off. So he's getting in trouble for that.
Yeah, he was flipping them off on as he was walking. He got elbowed in the nose or in the face and was gushing blood. Not gushing, but he had a bloody towel over his face. And he's in, I mean, he's in where are they even playing? Memphis. He's in Memphis. So they're gonna give him a little bit of crap. And Draymond's Draymond. We've had this conversation a million times. It doesn't surprise me one bit.
That's the thing. And he even came out and said, look, I'm not going to change the way I am. I'm not going to change the way I play. The only thing is, and that's great because it works well for him and for them. And he is incredibly valuable to that team, and it makes a huge impact on the game. But you can only make an impact on the game if you're in the game. You can't lose your head like you did against the Cavs so many years ago and miss a huge game in a playoff
knowing
series.
That you only had one technical, that your next technical you were out, and knowing that and still playing the way that you play.
Yeah, you can't. You have to make sure you're on the floor. You have to make sure you are on the floor for that team to have a chance to win this series for sure. So he's got to make sure that's fine. If that's what he needs to play with that fire and everything, that's fine. But you have to make sure you are, and it's part of the responsibility of his teammates and his coaches too, to rein him in as much as they can. Now he's kind of the alpha on that team, but he also is going to respect guys like Steph and Clay and those guys. If Steph comes over and says, hey, shut your mouth, we need you on the floor, that's enough. He's got to understand that.
I think he would do that if Steph walked up to him. I don't think there would be a problem with that. He might be a little upset, or he might, but I think if Steph came over, I think that's the one person that he would probably, Steph or Clay, maybe even Clay, even Clay. I feel like that would be, but I don't think we've ever seen that happen. So I don't know that that's in Steph's repertoire to walk over, because I think Steph believes that Draymond needs when Draymond's on one of those benders, he plays really well for the team, which it can go either way. He can fire them up and get them into a different level, or things can go terribly wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, most of the time, Draymond plays that way and runs his mouth all game, every game.
Mhm.
And most of the time it works out for him. But yeah, in critical series, now you're in the playoffs and you're advancing in the playoffs, and every series and every game is the most important one of the year now. This is where you have to be a little bit more careful.
I heard a really cool stat about they talked about last night on the broadcast about Golden State as a team. I want to say it was 19 or 20 consecutive series played where they took at least one game on the road.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That's big.
Pretty big stat. Yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yep. And they have done that. That series is tied 1-1. And then going on to Phoenix and Dallas, they played game one the other night, and Phoenix
handled it pretty well. They're currently down just before half by 2. That game's a long way from over. I think we both pretty well agree. Did I say Dallas was going to win this? No, I said Dallas would win the first series and was correct, because I love this Luka kid, man. I think this team's going to be really good. You would have thought that they won it all when what's his name? What's the kid's name? What's the rookie's name? I'm thinking of the Timberwolves. I'm thinking Anthony Evers with the Timberwolves when they took that game from in Memphis, and he was going nuts. Anyway, I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
Look, Luka is a superstar. He's an MVP candidate every year. Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie, Maxi Kleber, those guys are playing so well and have been for the second half of the season. I mean, they've almost had a Celtics-like turnaround after that trade deadline, and they're really tough. I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
And they can make a good series out of this. As great as Phoenix was all year long,
yeah,
I think they're going to give them a really tough series.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough at home or on the road for Dallas right now.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get into their arena, I don't know that they can steal a game. That's the problem. I don't know that Dallas can get a game in Phoenix. I think Dallas could easily win every home game. Could rattle off 3 straight at home, or 2 straight. Then it goes 1-1-1, right?
Yeah.
They could win the next, but it's going to be so tough to beat Phoenix in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Devin Booker's unbelievable. Parker last night asked me, he's got a life-size fathead of LeBron James in his room.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me last night, or it was 2 nights ago, he said, "Hey, Dad, where do you think would be a good spot to put one of those of Devin Booker?" Nice. And I was like, Devin Booker? That's who you came up with for real? I was like, I love it. I said, but I thought you were a big Steph guy. Oh, yeah, actually Steph Curry. Well, can we do both? No, we're not doing either. I'm not getting you either. You know how much just life-size fatheads are stupid ridiculous. I'm not doing either. Ask her for your birthday from somebody. Yeah. So anyway, Miami and Philadelphia, who, this Philadelphia team, buddy. You talk about Joel Embiid, and this might be the year, and all the craziness that happened with the James Harden and Ben Simmons deal. We talked about how disappointed we are in the way the Ben Simmons play occurred, or lack thereof, I should say. And here we are looking at the same thing with old playoff Harden. He's just doesn't. What was it? Playoff Paul, right? They used to call him Playoff Paul for Paul George, who
playoff P or something. Like that. Yeah,
never showed up in the playoffs or something like that. I'm going to tell you what, right now, man, James Harden's going to start getting something like that attached to his name.
It's been, I think, they were the best or second best team a few years in a row in Houston when he was at his peak, and regular season, and then they would lose first round series because he was either too tired because of the usage rate all year or something, or they just get, Mike D'Antoni was the coach and they just Mike D'Antoni's a great coach and he's a great offensive coach, but his teams just never got over that hump, just never could get to the finals.
They would score hundreds and 150 points a game, but they just couldn't get because of how big defense becomes. So here's my question. They officially go down 2-0 against a really, really good Heat team.
And Joel Embiid missed both games.
That was my question. So Joel Embiid does not play in either game. I don't know what his status is coming up for game 3 or further on, but if Joel Embiid plays in those 2 games, how big of a difference is that?
There might not be a bigger difference maker in the league, which is why he's either going to be the MVP or the second or runner-up MVP. As long it's a facial fracture, so it's not a knee thing or anything like that. It's a facial fracture, so he'll come back and wear a mask, and sometimes those guys come back and wear the masks, and now they've gotten even better for some reason.
How about Rip Hamilton? You remember Rip Hamilton? Who
LeBron's had some stints, and
yeah,
the mask has been great.
Rip Hamilton broke his face or broke his nose or whatever, and then never took the mask off. Refused to ever take the mask off. Wore it forever.
Yep. Wore a mask for the rest of his career, and was a great scorer and great shooter, and who knows what the mask is going to be like. But Embiid's worn one before anyway, but which is a good thing, because if he has to come back and wear one, he's already done it. Masks are totally different now than when Rip Hamilton was wearing them too. But apparently that didn't matter because he was more comfortable with it on than without it. But anyway, it's guys can play with them on now. It's one of those like old theater masks now, kind of like it just barely covers what it needs to cover. It's like half your face or something. But Embiid is going to be a huge difference maker, and he could turn the series around. Now, a 2-0 hole is big. You always see every time somebody gets down 2-0 and 3-0 and 3-1, you always see the numbers, the percentages of who teams that have come back. Hardly anybody's come back even from 2-0. But
there's only been 1 or 2 teams that have come back from 3-0. So 2-0 is tough, but obviously the next one's even bigger. So it'll be interesting to see if Joel Embiid makes it back. I believe their next game will probably be on Friday. Be my guess.
And they go to Philadelphia. So they going into the series, they said he's out the first 2 games. Hopefully or likely maybe back for the 3rd game. I haven't heard in the last day or 2 if there's any update on that. I'm sure there is, but we'll find out. But hopefully he'll be back for game 3, and hopefully the series can turn around. I'd love to see this series go 6 or 7 games or whatever, and because both teams are really good.
And I like to see a team. If somebody's going to beat you, you want to see him get beat. You want to see him beat the best of that team.
You want to see them at their best.
Yeah. And you want to see. I want to see what. I think the Heat. I mean, the Heat can do it. The Heat are they're a very good team, and how great would it be? I mean, the Heat, Celtics, in the conference finals in the East would be. I mean, there might be games that are like played in the 80s.
Yeah,
very well could be games played in the 80s.
I think we've already seen 2 games where teams ended games in the 80s.
Milwaukee just last night scored 89 points last night,
and I think it was
they had 86. They had 86 with like 6 minutes left in the game. They only scored 3 points in like the last 5 minutes of the game.
And the Celtics scored in the 80s the first game.
Did they?
Yeah. So that was they did it to each other, which makes me excited about this series.
We talked about that last week. This series is the fun one. That's the one that This is going to be the one. This goes 7 games, and it'll be the best 7 games you ever saw.
Is it whoever wins this series wins the East to you?
No. Are you kidding me? That's like putting you're going to put that on Miami right now? I wouldn't. If I'm one of these 2 teams, you cannot think that way, because Miami will come out and surprise you. Yeah. I mean, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. No, I don't. I think Miami is good enough, and I think Philly with Joel Embiid is good enough. I don't think this is the conference finals right here. I think this. I mean, potentially, if it was played differently, could it be? Yeah, but I think all 4 of these teams are capable of winning all the entire East.
All 4 of these teams, especially the top 3, Miami, Milwaukee, and Boston, are so good defensively. They can change series because of how good they are defensively. And And Philly can be like that too, but they have to have Embiid on the floor for them to be like that.
That's it. They have to have Embiid on the floor, and Harden doesn't make them any better on the defensive side.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen James Harden play well on defense for small spurts, but come on, man. We all know what that is. We all know how that rolls.
Yeah. But
if you're the main man, if you're the main guy on your team, on the team, and you know that number one, that your number one guy, you're number two, Joel Embiid's number one, but you know number one's down and you're in the playoffs and you are literally one of the top scorers in the entire league, you got to have more than 20. You got to do better than 20 points. You have to. You got to come out there shooting for 40.
I was watching most of this game before I came over here, and anytime James Harden drove into the lane, got into the lane, he either scored or assisted on when he passed the ball out. When he did his dribble through the legs 15 times, a double or triple step back after he stops dribbling, and then shoots with two guys in his face, he wasn't making those.
He had 9 assists.
So get into the paint. Look, you're probably going to have to play differently when Embiid comes back. But even then, it's probably a good idea. I mean, you're going to go through Embiid more. Your offense is going to go through Embiid.
Yeah, but then you can stop and pop. You'll get open jump shots instead of having to do all this crazy creating that is not even that good. Like when you watch Kyrie Irving create for his own shot, it is like watching a professional ballerina at work. It is fun watching him maneuver around and do what he does.
4 spin moves. And
when James Harden does the exact same thing and then travels as he walks backwards, I can't stand that. That fadeaway backwards double step back thing. My nephew, that's all he does is the little dribble and then jump stop backwards and shoot. I hate it.
Yeah, kids shouldn't be doing that yet. But James Harden was really, really good at it for a long time, but it's not working now. Guys have adjusted to he has been doing that for a long time. Guys guard him a little bit differently now. He still makes them sometimes, but they can make it tougher on him to shoot that shot and make that move. But I mean, the guy can still, he doesn't handle the ball like Kyrie Irving, but he's shifty, crafty, and he moves like his movement is just about getting you sort of off balance.
Right.
And so do that, but use it to get into the lane and shoot your floaters or get all the way to the lane and make a layup or kick it out to the wide open shooter in the corner. Like, I mean, that's what they want to do anyway.
Yep.
He's got to get into the lane. I think it opens up way more for them than him just standing there doing that ISO step back stuff. Anyway, Milwaukee, Boston is going to be super exciting, I think. And hopefully they keep just trading games and that goes 7. We've talked about that, like you said.
When we get back next week, they're still going to be in this series. So they will, they'll, I mean, some of them may have wrapped up. I doubt it. There's a lot of, these are going to be 4 really good series, I think. And I hope they are, at least. I hope Embiid comes back and turns this into a better series. At least gets home to get into Philly, get those 2 games in Philly, get this thing tied up, and then, see who's going to steal the one on the road.
Let the fun begin.
That's exactly right.
Very nice. Yeah. I mean, that kind of covers everything. So you think Miami, Boston are going to win their series, right?
I like, I'll go Miami. I don't know that I think Boston. Yeah, I'll take Boston, sure, because I know you're still going with Giannis and the Bucks.
I don't know.
That's how I feel about that series. I have no idea who's coming out of that. I mean, if you had to pick one, though, I'm telling you to pick one, like you just made me do.
If I had to put money on it or something, I think I would go with the Celtics. But by a half of a hair.
Yeah.
And not
only
one,
because they have the guys
long ways, one cut split down
the middle.
Yeah.
So it's only because they've got guys who can potentially guard Giannis and not stop him. You can't stop Giannis, but you can hold him back and enough.
Mhm.
And they've got enough players that can get out there and do that on that team.
And Chris Middleton has not played in this series yet either. So if he can come back in this series, that's going to help them a little bit. Certainly not the same kind of impact that Embiid's going to have, but that will give them another shooter, another scorer, and kind of open things up. Drew Holiday has been great, stepping up and scoring more in his absence, and also being one of the best defenders in the league. Anyway, that's man, that series is going to be. And Marcus Smart missed game 2.
Yeah, he missed game 2, and that's the one where they played the best defense, which Marcus Smart is that one of those 2 or 3 guys that you expect to be guarding Giannis for most of that game. So that's even better.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on. We're still at the beginning of these series. We'll talk about them again next week. But Chris, so now is the time that we make a decision. Do we want to talk about how poor our Cincinnati Reds are, or do we want to go on to Mount Rushmore?
Let's do it real quick.
Okay.
I'll say my point, and then if you want to add to it or say whatever you want to say, you can.
Please.
Here's what I'd like to say about these Reds. I've seen some posts on different social sites here lately, and there was one that I agreed with very much. We are fans of the Cincinnati Reds. And one of the best, if you have kids right now, one of the best things you can teach your kids is what it means to be a fan. It's not all about the Reds winning World Series and doing this, that, and the other. You know, when you go to a Reds game, there's a lot of fun things that happen in a Reds game. You remember certain parts of your life based off of what you did at a Reds game. There are certain Reds games you'll never forget. Reggie Taylor hits a foul ball to me, hits me square in the hands and rolls off. The only foul ball I've ever been close to.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Been at 1,000 Reds games, and I've only had one foul ball come to me, and there was no one around except a 6-year-old kid 15 seats away, and the ball hit my hands and rolled over to this child. Like,
you were going to give it to him anyway. You know
I
what?
would have, but I smacked the seat. Like, I was so mad.
It was a tip pass. You could have caught it. It was a tip pass. It
shoveled it over to him. I was like 16 years old, 17 years old. I might have kept it.
Yeah.
No, I probably would have gave it to the kid. But anyway, but those are things, right? You remember those, right? If you had a fun day, you took off work and went to a game and something happened, or you hung out with somebody that you don't normally hang out with, or you see somebody, different things happen at Reds games. It's more than just winning or losing. You also have to learn that about abandonment. When you're a fan of a team, you're a fan of that team in good times and bad. And you couldn't see a better example of that than being in Cincinnati where we are now. The Bengals went from one of the laughing stocks of the league for 30 years to making it to the Super Bowl last year. You're going to go through some tough times, man. It's going to happen. 2 years ago, the Bengals had the worst record in football, or one of the worst. Yeah, they did have the worst record in football because they got the first pick and took Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
I understand frustration. Frustration should be there. There should be frustration. But let's not act like we're all going to abandon the Reds. Let's not act like we want the Reds to. We're not gonna support the Reds. I'm still going to support the Reds. I'm making it a mental decision right now to start supporting the Reds more this year. With how bad they are, I want to support them more than I did even last year.
I can't tell you how much I love that. And by the way, I feel like this was the foundation of what I was talking about.
It is. It is. It's exactly what you were saying. Shout out to Andy Wellendorf, who put a little thing up about his boy. Oh. They went to a restaurant specifically so they could watch the Reds because his boy wanted to watch him and how much it meant to him to do that. So shout out to Welly for that. I saw that little thing and it made me think, you know what? That's what it's all about right there.
That's right. That's a great post. I didn't see it, but well endorsed, a smart guy, and it, he must also be in the same boat that I am. Does not have Bally Sports, so he cannot watch.
That's
Reds
pretty
games.
sure that's probably why he said, Dad, can we go find somewhere to watch a Reds game?
I was taking a walk last Friday. It was a nice night. I had gone to dinner a little earlier, and just didn't have anything else to do. So I took a walk, and I was walking past a bar, and they had the doors open, the windows open, and everything, and the game was on. And I was like, and this was just not even a week ago, so they were already in a really, really bad spot. But I'm like, oh man, I miss having the games on. Just having the games on, even in the background. You just so you just turn it on. You do other stuff around the house, whatever, but it's just on. And you stop. You're walking through the room, and you stop for a second. You watch the next pitcher. Oh, Fado's up. Got to sit for his at bat or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do miss it, and I would still, if I had Bally Sports, I maybe not. I wouldn't watch the whole game or anything like that, but I'd turn it on and I'd watch a little bit, or I'd watch until they were down 9-3 or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do miss that. I totally agree, though, Chris. That's a great point. And look, people do abandon teams, and I saw a post the other day of a guy. He wrote to Lance McAllister. He emailed Lance McAllister, and Lance put it up. Guy is like 68 years old or something like that. Has been a 68-year Reds fan, something like that.
Sure. And
said, "This is the time. This is it. This is the time that I'm out. This is the time I'm out." And we hear about that. A ton of people stopped being Bengals fans in the 90s because they were so bad for 12 straight years. They were the worst team in the league for 12 years. And then, and some people even became Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I mean, they even went to the rival, but so people can make that decision. That's fine. But for a lot of people that are born and raised in a city, and you grow up with your favorite players and going to games and all the great experiences that you have going to games, that's the thing. I'm so with you on that. It's like, I get so sick of seeing already, and it's still early in the season, so sick of seeing people's negativity. And I was listening to a podcast the other day talking about the Reds, and the guy's like, well, they're just talking about all the bad stuff that's going on, which that's mostly all you can talk about anyway. But they're like, well, one thing's clear and obvious is Nick Krall has to go. You have to fire Nick Krall. There's no choice in that. I don't. What do you mean? There's no. What is that going to do?
None of this is Nick. You can't put
in the same breath. He talked about how Nick Krall was told he has to cut pay. He has to adjust the roster for payroll.
Yes, and he was given specific instructions. He was given specific instructions. Castellini said it. We told Nick we have to cut payroll, and we are going to start from the bottom up. We are going to start in our minor league system and bring it up. That is what we are going to do. And that's exactly what he did. So there is that's just ridiculous.
I know. And look, maybe if there was somebody else making those decisions, somebody else in the as a general manager or whatever VP of baseball operations or whatever, somebody else may have made different moves or not signed Mike Minor to a $10 million deal or whatever. Somebody may have done something and made a little bit better moves. The Reds wouldn't have been much better this year.
No, it wouldn't be, nothing could make this team. There's no small move that could have made this team competitive.
Right.
There's not a small move anywhere that could be made.
And getting rid of those big contracts, that's what you have to do. So you're not going to bring on another contract. So you have to do what they did and bring on 18-year-old pitchers that can throw 98 or whatever. And you're going to develop him for 3 years or whatever. That's the way you're going to have to do it. If you're handcuffed and you're going to have to cut payroll, it's the owner's decision. And we already went through that whole thing for 3 weeks where everybody's like, Castellini's need to sell the team, and everybody hated how he talked, how he said, "Where are you going to go?"
I mean,
that's exactly what we're saying.
It is.
Where are you going to go? Are you going to be a fan or not?
But there's a difference. There's a difference between a fan saying that and the owner saying that
shouldn't have said
that shouldn't have came out. That I will not. I
But
don't.
the idea behind it is correct. That's why I was kind of defending
Yeah,
it.
but
Like,
don't say it like you're a punk, like you're something like, oh well, where else you go? I mean, he said it. I don't know why I came in with a. I've been watching a ton of mob stuff here lately, dude. Ton of it.
James Gandolfini is our.
I just watched the Meyer Lansky, which is the Meyer Lansky story. Came out last year. I just watched that last night. So I mean, I got a lot of Italiano talking, you know.
Look, he I can't remember if I said this before or not when we were talking about that, but a lot of people know Phil Castellini as being sort of an arrogant guy. I mean, he's sort of, people around here that have seen him speak kind of already know that. And yeah, he came across that way. His message was not wrong though. I mean,
I get that. I
know,
but people are allowed to be outraged at how he said it.
Sure.
That's the part that irritates me. Wait, that's not your okay. I'm not.
I don't want.
We're not going off on a tangent on this because we kind of half agree.
No, we do. I
half.
If you do, but if you leave out the way he said it, or the fact that he shouldn't have said that, but if you just concentrate on what he said, on the message of what he said, that's exactly that. That's why I defended it, because everybody's so crazy about. I can't believe you don't have to like that he said it or how he said it, but you're being blind to what he's saying, and he's not wrong about what he's saying, I think. So look, that's fine. If you don't want to be a Reds fan, if you've been a Reds fan for 98 years and your 99th birthday is coming up and you're like, this is it, I can't deal with it anymore. I'm a Cubs fan for the last however many years I'm alive. I'm just a Cubs fan now, or I'm a Cardinals fan, or whatever you want to do. Indians, Guardians.
Got him.
Got me. Canceled. Whatever you want to do. If you want to jump ship, that's fine. Go ahead and be a fan of another organization. And guess what?
Yeah.
That's going to happen at another organization too.
I mean, unless you go be a fan of the Dodgers or I mean, there's 4 teams out there that you can go be a fan of that this isn't going to happen, but it happens everywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, look, those teams have had bad teams too before.
They've had bad teams, but
it takes them less time to bounce back.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. All right. We can sit here and talk about how the Reds have by far the worst ERA in baseball, have given up by far the worst or the most earned runs, have given up the most walks, are like second or third worst overall in offense.
Hey, you know what a big thing though is? Real quick. I was looking the other day, and I believe the highest batting average on the team right now is Tommy Pham, who couldn't buy a hit for the first 4 games. So
three-hit game last night.
3-hit game last night, and he's hitting like 247.
Team batting average of 201.
Yeah. How about that?
So Reds are bad. I am glad that you said you were going to make a conscious effort to watch some more Reds, even when they're bad this year.
Absolutely.
I'm going to try to do the same thing. I'm going to have to start going up to somewhere. Boy, these bars in Cheviot are getting bad, but I'll find a place to go.
Find somewhere else.
I'll find a place to go. I'll go to Chandler's or something like that.
Well, during the week, it's not. If you hit them up on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway,
I'll find one that serves food. Do any of them even serve food?
I mean, that's why I'll go to Chandler's or something.
Yeah, that's where you go. Go to Chandler's.
Somewhere like that.
Well, if you're going to Chandler's, you go to Chandler's, you might as well just roll down here. Come to my house.
I come to your house. I go to Champions. That's not too bad.
Champions in bad.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's both try to watch a little more Reds.
I love it.
All right. We got to move on to we're getting back now. Okay. Now this is where I eat another Reese's stick here.
I like
because
how many have you eaten? Have you only eaten one? You did eat 2? Good for you. Mine are gone.
Okay. You can have. No, I've got 2 left. You can have one. I can have one.
Nope. I'm not going to do that to you. Not going to do that to you.
I'm good. So
you gave it a 9 point. What did you give it? A 9.95. 9.5. And I gave it an 8.3. So no, I'm not taking yours. Those are yours, man.
Hey, man, I love the Reese's sticks. So that is the Mount Rushmore this week. It is Reese's candy. Any Reese's product you can find. Now, Reese's is a subsidiary of Hershey's, I believe. So if you
I
go,
didn't know that.
I went to Hershey, Pennsylvania, to the Hershey factory and everything years ago, and they were selling Reese's.
My
Reese's
grandpa's
products.
mom was a Hershey.
Is that right?
Yeah, she got banned from the family because she married some Irish guy.
Okay, well, that was back when Irish people
Or his
were.
yeah, his grandma, not his mom. His grandma was a Hershey.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, we took the like the bus tour through the town, and you saw where Wilt Chamberlain scored his 100 points, was in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the coolest part to
There's
me.
no recording of that game. Am I correct about
Correct.
that?
I think you're correct. Yep. And then he rode back to New York from there in a car with the Knicks that he just
Beat.
scored that night. Yeah,
That's
scored 100
awesome.
points on that night. So anyway, but that was a really cool experience. You got to make your own candy bar. I had started dating this girl like a few weeks before that, and I gave up my custom made candy bar I made for her, had her name put on it and everything. And
How long were you dating?
maybe a few weeks, maybe a month or something like that.
That's big.
Maybe a little longer.
That's a big.
Maybe a couple months.
That's a
Maybe a couple
big
months.
decision.
It is a big decision.
2 months.
We stayed together a couple of years, but I could have used that candy bar.
Would you have ever eaten it?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Did she eat it?
How
How did was the name imprinted into the chocolate?
It's imprinted in the chocolate, and it's also printed on a wrapper, and it's placed in this nice like metal case, and the wrappers put on it around. I mean, it's a really nice production. And you walk through, you put in what you want. You have anything you want added to it, make it however you want.
What? You make your own candy bar?
Make your own candy bar. It goes,
What?
you put in what you want, and then you follow it along the belt as it gets made.
So
through
like
the
if you
factory.
say I want nougat, caramel, Reese's Pieces, and wafer crisps, it would do the whole thing for you.
And you walk along and see each thing added at a time, and you watch it get made, and you watch it get wrapped up, and you take it with you.
I would, what I would make?
What would you make?
Reese's peanut butter, caramel, Reese's Pieces covered in chocolate. I would make a Reese's
The
outrageous
outrageous.
bar. I just make the outrageous bar. Did
Fair
I mention
enough.
that's my favorite? I bought 3 of those today because it was 3 for $6 or something like
I
that.
couldn't. Did you? I couldn't tell. You gave it a 10.
So good.
So we're doing the Reese's Mount Rushmore of Reese's candy. Chris, would you like to go first? Tell me your top 4 Reese's products.
Well, obviously, number 1 on that list is the Reese's outrageous bar. I'm pretty sure I've made it abundantly clear that is number 1 on the list.
Mhm.
Number 2, I'm gonna go with the big cup. The big cups are fun, but I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with a twist on the big cup. I like the big cup with the Reese's Pieces in it. By the end of this, there's a small trend that you may or may not follow. So then for number 3, I'm gonna go with just the Reese's Pieces.
Ooh.
A bag of Reese's Pieces that's without a doubt on top. So obviously the Reese's Pieces are the trend there, right? So you've got the pieces in there. There's something about that candy shell. It's like with M&Ms. Like when I get the Reese's Pieces, or if I get M&Ms, I throw them in the old gullet or in the mouth and chip away on the outside.
Mhm.
And I get all the candy off first, and then take care of the chocolate or the peanut butter on the inside.
You're a surgeon.
I am a surgeon. Yeah, I'm a surgeon with my mouth. So I'm gonna go regular Reese's Pieces, and last, but most definitely not least, there's something to be said about the original. And I'm going to go with I don't think this is on yours. I'm pretty sure you're not going to have the original on yours. I'm going to go with the original regular everyday Reese cup. Now, very close on my list, the white chocolate Reese cup, like that. And by the way, people that say white chocolate and chocolate are the same and taste the same, that's not true in any way, shape, or form. They're 2 totally different tastes.
Mhm.
If you-
One tastes like Jason Williams.
Yeah.
And one tastes like chocolate.
like Jason.
milk
One tastes like Jason Williams from Marshall, and one tastes like Jason Williams from Duke.
Yeah. There you go.
Also, very close on the list is the new big cup extra with that. That is very close on my list. I buy those quite often. When the outrageous bar isn't there, I will go for one of those quite often. I'm a fan of that. But those probably would be the next two closest things that I've had and tried. Because there's quite a few I haven't had. Because once I had that outrageous bar, I usually don't buy anything else.
I get that. I'm the same way a lot of times.
So, all right, Ad, let's hear your Mount Rushmore of Reese's candy.
I'm going to go ahead and start with, and I had this written down for a week now, the Reese's Sticks.
Oh, I like it.
It's
okay,
on.
so you went with the one with what we actually ate today.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
Reese's Sticks, I love them. I'm going with the big cup, the plain big cup. Third, I am going with the rare big cup with crunchy cookie.
Ooh,
I can't find them anymore.
with crunchy cookie? I don't think I've even seen that.
They were around for a while, for a couple years maybe, and I've seen them in like 3 stores ever.
So here's my thing that we will bring this up on a later show because they're going to be coming on pretty soon. The big cup thing where they're starting to put all this stuff inside the big cups, whether it's crunchy cookies or pretzels or potato chips. What is in these foods that you can place them inside of peanut butter and they don't get soggy?
Well, I mean, one has a candy
That
shell.
freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are preservatives and stuff.
You get a big cup, even with preservatives. You stick something in the middle of peanut butter. You take a pretzel right now and a jar of peanut butter and stick that pretzel down inside the peanut butter. Close the jar and come back a week later. That pretzel is going to be the softest, nastiest thing in the entire world. However, I had the potato chip one, big thing or whatever. Once again, same thing. You stick a potato chip in that peanut butter, it's going to get moist.
Okay.
I don't know how it stays crunchy. It grosses me out a little bit.
I don't know how either. Here's the thing. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Okay.
Amen. Sorry to have brought it up.
No, totally okay. The crunchy cookie, I don't understand how that's not like maybe the most prominent of the things to put in the big cup. I mean, how's that not selling out everywhere? Hardly anybody has it.
Maybe that's the problem. It lands and it goes.
I don't know, man.
I think you'd see an empty box on the shelf, though.
You'd think, but I don't.
I haven't had that, so I couldn't tell you.
If I ever find them again, I'll definitely bring those over. That's number 3. Number 4, I'm going with whatever is in season between the eggs, the hearts, the Christmas trees, the in season, basically the original big cup, sort of.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. The Reese's egg for Easter. Oh man. Yeah.
Which are out all over the place right now.
And they have to be, you have to get them that year. I mean, the best part about those, as well as like the Snickers, like if you get a Snickers Christmas one, it's like shaped like Santa, the caramel is different. If it's not been sitting around for a long time, you take a bite out of that and the caramel like is still melty and so delicious. So there's something about that fresh new peanut butter inside an in-season Reese's. That's a really good one. I didn't think about that. Well done.
Maybe the best.
Well done.
Those are my 4: the big cup with crunchy cookie, the Reese's Sticks, and the eggs, hearts, Christmas trees, whatever's in season there.
Gotcha. That sounds good. All right, man. Well, I guess that brings us to last but not least. Let's talk about Mr. David Spade. What was it called?
Nothing personal.
David Spade, nothing personal. You know what? I went first for this. Why don't you go ahead and jump out on David Spade?
We talk about this all the time, but I sometimes you go into these things and think, I'm so excited about this. I'm probably going to overhype it, and it's not going to meet my expectations because I'm so excited. Because I know how good this guy is. I know how good this girl is. I know they're going to be fantastic. I can't wait for this. I was like that for David Spade here. Okay. I'm loving his new podcast with Dana Carvey. He did a little show from his house during the pandemic when everybody was inside. Really funny. And so the last few years I've just gotten bigger and bigger. I've just ridden this momentum of David Spade, just liking him more and more. And I mean, I'm sure we both loved him since we were kids. When we saw him on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live, Just Shoot. No, was it Just Shoot? What was that he was on? Just Shoot
Me.
Yeah.
I never saw that, but it was SNL and I mean Tommy Boy over anything.
Oh,
really,
of course, yeah.
Black Sheep and all that. So and he's been in a bunch. Did you ever watch The Wrong Missy?
Oh my gosh, that was really good. I thought that was going to be so stupid when I saw that. I was like, man, Sandler's been missing with some of these, dude. And that was really good.
It's maybe my favorite. Now I haven't. Adam Sandler is so prolific. I've not seen half of his movies now because he puts a new movie out every year. But that one, I've watched that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
it's so funny. So David Spade's great. I went into it thinking that it was really funny. I thought maybe I did overhype it, so it maybe was a tiny letdown.
Yeah.
Still though, I really thought it was funny. I liked it a lot. I think the thing I like most about him are and I think they're planned, but
I know where you're going. And yes, this is what I wanted to talk about. I think they're planned too.
Okay. But his little like quick comments that sound like little throwaways that he's just like, it sounds like he's just top of my head, real quick throwaway.
The funniest part of the funniest parts of this entire thing was when he would tell a joke, and then as he's getting ready to like go get a drink of water or switch into something else, and he would just be like, and then would keep on going. Those were hilarious. I loved. That was one of the things I was going to talk about is the little quips in between the jokes were better than the jokes themselves.
Yeah, he's really good at that. Even appearances on talk shows and stuff, he's always good at that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I liked most about it. One of them that that stuck in my mind that I thought was really funny. Maybe it was kind of dumb to a lot of people, but he unscrews the cap off his water and he like kind of gently just like tosses it across the stage. And he goes, I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. Like just barely used his wrist and fingers to let it go.
That got the most laughs out of all of them too on the actual thing. But there was a lot of little ones in between that were good.
Yeah, he had some really funny jokes, but yeah, it's his kind of delivery with all that stuff that I think is really good. Another thing that I wrote down is he talked about his weight. How he was at some point he was 140, so he just wrote 140 forever, and he was just 140 for like 25 years. And I was, I mean, when I became an adult, I was always between like 130 and 140, and it was like that for a long time. And then 2 years ago, a pandemic hit, and I ordered DoorDash 3 times a day every day, and I gained 25 pounds, and now I'm like 165.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what he is now.
Yes.
He finally he went to the doctor's office he tried to get out of going into the doctor's office for his physical before a movie or whatever. And the doctor's like making him do this. He's like, you got to come in. We got to actually check you out. Adam's not gonna like this.
That's what I wrote down is that was one of the jokes. The Adam's not going to like this joke was one of my favorites. And at the very end, when he was 165 and the doctor finally comes to him and goes, Adam's not gonna like this.
Yeah. That was so good. Anyway, my weight is almost exactly his when when we were both younger and when we both got older. Now he's 10 years older than me, but oh man, yeah. There's so many funny things in this podcast. Yeah, you're very
you're
funny.
right. Thank you. You too.
Thanks. But anyway, the jokes were good. His delivery is what is best, I think. And the little tags or whatever are the best parts. So David Spade, nothing personal. I am giving a 3.7.
Okay. So I there was a couple jokes that were good that I really liked. The Adam one was good. There was a lot of these that didn't hit much at all. And it was the only thing that saved it was the little quips in between. There was a lot of that. And like a lot of these stories he was telling, I was like, he'd get to the punchline and I felt like there was no punchline. I'm like, where's the punch? I don't get it. And then he'd go into his next joke. There'd be that little goofy thing in between. But I love that. That's funny. But I feel like if you're going to talk for 5 minutes about a story, that don't end it with some quip that doesn't even really have anything to do with the story. Like I need a punchline at the end of that joke.
Those little things are almost the punchline.
I know, but for all of that, it's like you just wasted my time. You could literally just come out and say that little thing, and I would have laughed at that by itself. I don't know. It just, there was a lot of it that there was still some really good parts that were funny. I agree 100%. The things that I wanted to say was those little pieces in between. And the Adam story, Adam's not going to be happy, was good. I don't know, man, but a lot of them they just weren't what I thought it was going to be. And once again, like you said, maybe I hyped it up too much. I gave it a 3.3. It was still good. I mean, the whole thing was funny. It just wasn't like crack up, dying, laughing funny for me.
So you had 3.4 for Indiana Mike, and you had 3.3 David Spade. You comfortable with that?
Let's give it a 3.5. It was better than Indiana Mike. It was definitely better than Indiana Mike. I'll give it a 3.5.
David Spade, thank you for watching. Thanks for all the texts and phone calls and stuff you always hit us up after the shows, but you're welcome. I just got you another 0.2.
0.2 Haas on the Haas scale.
That's a ha 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 ha.
Oh, don't do that again.
One more thing no, that's it. That's honestly
one more. What do you got?
Except for I was gonna say we have one more thing to do, but our comedy special is the last part. Until it's technically not the last part. The one more thing we have to do is to pick a Mount Rushmore for next week, and
which is a segment in itself of this podcast.
Segment in itself. It really is. Yeah, I backlogged a few so that I can be ready. If you want to look at this little very short list,
don't need it. I already got it.
No, you're so good.
It just popped into my head just now. I was trying. I look over. I see Spirit, the horse over here, little toy for the girls, and I'm thinking favorite type of horse, and I'm like, there's no way we can do that. And in my head, all of a sudden,
is there more than one horse?
In my head, I said, what other horse could I say? And I was thinking, what, zebra? And then I went, boom, got it. I just want you guys to know how the process works.
A zebra is a horse in jail.
I'm walking you exactly. I'm walking you through the process. And I thought,
an incarcerated horse
outside of our regular horse and a zebra, I don't know what else there is. Oh, I got it. Mount Rushmore of zoo animals.
Zoo animals. Okay. We've done animals. We haven't done zoo animals.
Zoo animals.
Okay.
We've done animals.
Yeah.
I need zoo animals because I feel like cat and dog and stuff like that.
It's not going to be in there.
No, There's no, I mean, spotted dogs or something like that, I think, are painted dogs. They call them painted dogs. Is that what's at the zoo? When was the last time you were at the zoo?
Is that when people spray their poodle pink and stuff like that?
No, there's some kind of animal there's some kind of wild dog in the desert called a painted dog.
Okay. And speaking of that, I got a.
Did you know a fox was a type of dog? Canine?
Is it?
I always thought it was a cat.
Oh no, it seems like a mixture, really.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, zoo animals.
What did you say? Speaking of,
speaking of that, I just got a from Hawksworth. We talked about when I gave blood.
Yeah,
they give you a zoo ticket.
Nice.
Yep, I got a zoo ticket. And then I went to a baseball game the other night, Elder Moeller baseball game at UC, and I got a pass for a free view level ticket for a Reds game.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who won that game?
And the Skyline Cheese County. Moeller. Good game.
Really good game.
4-2. Good game. Yeah. Moeller's got 2 kids going to Ohio State. One going. I mean, they've got 5 or 6 kids playing D1 baseball next year. They're like 17-1 now. They're really, really good. Elder's catcher. I want you so badly to see Elder's catcher in person. I heard about this kid. Yeah. I got to see him in person. This kid is unreal.
Really?
Unreal. I just want you to see his arm. Oh my God. You're going to fall in love. I fell in love with the kid the other day. I'm in love with a 16-year-old kid. He's a junior.
He's a junior.
And he's I think he's like the number 7 or 8 player in Ohio.
If I'm not mistaken, Dressman was a catcher at Xavier, Elder and Xavier. And he worked a lot with catchers when I was at Elder. So if that's anything to think of, this kid's in good hands.
Saw Coach Dressman there. He's still going strong.
Is he the head coach of JV, or is he what's he doing these days?
He seemed to be pretty prominent as a varsity assistant. He could still be coaching.
I mean, he was he would help at varsity games. He was a bench coach at the varsity games when we were there, but he was the head coach of JV.
He was in Thompson's ear the whole night. Now his boy Robbie is calling pitches. I think still he's the pitching coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was Dressman was very, very active with Coach Thompson.
Those guys have been together for a very, 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 very long time.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, all right. Well, so you gave us the Mount Rushmore. It's going to be zoo animals, and I am going to go with the comedy special that I was just as, if not more, excited about. And by the way, I told you at the end of last week that there was a tweet that I thought about, and I thought about doing, and it was going to be so excited about David Spade and Joe List having a comedy special released on the same week.
Yep.
The next day, I tweeted that out. 15 minutes later, Joe List liked it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, are you gonna get a blue check mark now?
I should have a blue check mark, to be honest with you. That's the 3rd or 4th celebrity that has liked something that I've put over the years.
Man, that's big time, dude.
It was big for me. I love Joe List, and that's why we are going to watch his special this week and talk about it next week. It's called This Year's Material, and
This Year's Material.
It's on YouTube.
There's only 2 blue checks that have ever liked anything I've ever done.
They're both Xavier related.
No.
Oh.
One is Reds related.
Nice.
Bobby Nightingale and Adam Baum.
Very nice.
That's it.
Two big time celebrities. Big time celebrities.
No one else has ever liked anything. Nobody prominent has ever liked anything I liked.
Well, you're hardly ever on to have anybody like anything that you.
I guess you got to tweet, right? You got to tweet to have
thing.
somebody like something.
That's very impressive that you had any, because you're not tweeting a whole lot on there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they just liked the thing when I said, "Hey, Bobby Nightingale was on the podcast last night," or "Hey, here's the link to Adam Baum with a Nosebleed Sports podcast." Pretty sure those are the only tweets I put out there.
Those guys have tons of followers, and they probably got us some likes or some listens.
100%, some listens. Yeah. I'll take the listens and the views and the clicks and the.
Like and subscribe, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, The Nosebleeds.
So can I just say this? If like it, because if you're watching this on YouTube, how did you get here if you weren't subscribed?
You can find you.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
the algorithm will bring up whatever. I mean,
Okay.
it's,
I don't know how.
if you
I don't
watch,
know how. I don't know how electronics work.
I don't know exactly how the algorithms work and everything, but I'm sure if you, and it might have something to do with whatever we hashtag at the end of the description and that kind of thing. Which
Oh,
I'm
we need
bad
to
at.
we need to put OH dot or OH. Wow, what is the Ohio Mosquito? We need to put
Ohio-MC.
we need to put their. Well, we will have their website in the comments. No, we won't. In the what is it
in the description
description
of the episode
below? Yeah, in the description below. I hear people say that all the time.
Absolutely, we will
check
have
the
that.
website. There's a website for them right here, right there. Go right there and see MC Ohio or something like that.
Yeah.
I should look that up before I continue to say it.
Ohio-MC.com.
Ohio-MC.com, baby. That's what we're talking about.
All right, we have half of our show already planned for next week now. I'm sure we'll talk more about the NBA playoffs.
Yep.
If anything else comes out about this Chappelle thing, if the guy was planning on shooting him with a knife somehow,
If he was planning on shooting him with his knife, I feel like you would have done it before he tackled him.
probably. But also Officer Fox was there, and he took care of business
Yeah, he did.
anyway. Before
They
anything
stomped
happened.
him out.
Yeah.
Him and Busta Rhymes stomped him out.
Yeah.
Busta was the one that did most of that beating, right?
He had them all in check. Look, Busta tried to break his neck, and Jamie Foxx, he's more of a suave guy. I'm sure he stomped him out too, but he was probably singing. Infatuation was Jamie Foxx's his big song back in the day. He's a beautiful singer, really talented guy. But while you're looking this up, while you're looking up our exit exit song, for next week, that's what we're gonna have. Anything else that comes up, anything big in sports, big in comedy, or anything else. And by the way, we're gonna eat another Reese's product. It's gonna be something
probably
different.
Be the best part,
and we're gonna be talking about it. And that's very exciting. It's very exciting for people to listen to us eat on the microphone and talk about candy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel like can I tell you, I don't know that doing it first off the bat is the best idea.
Okay,
but I really don't care. We're doing it because I can't stare at a candy bar next to me and not eat it.
Do you think there is a better spot
No.
in the podcast?
Okay,
Nope.
It's the best spot by far. It's the best spot by far.
I got you. So we'll do it first. We'll lead off with that. That's our new leadoff hitter.
That sounds good. And then so until then, don't break your neck.
Here we go. What's going on now? Come, yo. Here we go.
Oh, this is a bad place to do it at.
Here we go.
We gotta get to it. Come on, how we do this? Flip Mode Squad.
Over the track, man. 2001.
2000. Oh, here we go.
That's it.
Yep.
Break your freaking neck, boy.
Oh, thanks for doing the clean one.
You're
Good
welcome.
job.
Here we go.
I was like, oh, here we go.
There you go. All right, everybody. We appreciate everybody listening. And until next week, don't forget to turn your headlights on.